all right. It's your girl Kay, and I'm back with another banger. So today I have a special guest named Langley says your casual word is his podcast. He teaches about motivational words and skills to men. So I'm gonna join him in. The topic is what do men really want?
Hey,
Hey,
okay,
how you
great.
doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm glad we finally got a chance to sit down and have this conversation. I know technology has been interesting. We'll say that.
Right. Definitely been glitching and everything. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Tell me about
But
it.
I'm gonna tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Born in California, raised in Virginia. I now live in the Virgin Islands. I've been there just about 3 years now. Um, Worked in the legislature there as a legislative director. Since leaving that position, I now do a lot of work with nonprofits. As you mentioned earlier, a lot of it's centered around trying to empower and encourage our young men, especially our young Black men. And that's not just about empowering for the sake of being powerful, but we're talking about being vulnerable, taking accountability, being transparent, emotional intelligence, all the things that we historically have been unable to obtain.
Okay, I like that. Especially, I do the. I try to with my nephew honestly to give him motivation each and every day because he doesn't have a male figure. His only male figure is my father. So within that, he tries to be the male figure for him. So I like, try to send him things to listen to. Being a young man and Black in this world, he's growing up to be 17. So I'm definitely, you got some type of links out there. I'm gonna send it to him.
Yeah, absolutely. I just published my seventh book. It's specifically geared toward fathers, and not just biological fathers, but anyone who's enough to me about certain issues.
That's nice because sometimes people don't have people to actually talk to, and to be open like that is that's nice. Sometimes people need a median, somebody to vent to, somebody to go to other than their friend or family. So I appreciate it. All right, so with the topic, it's about what do men want. So I want to ask you, what type of motivation would you give a man or a young individual who don't have like a purpose, or they not necessarily know where they want to be in their life? What do you give as inspiration?
I think the first thing you have to do is figure out what you like. Uh, People, all people, enjoy something. So for any young person out there, male or female, find out what you like, which you may need to try a few things, but there's going to be an inherent interest, whether it's music, whether it's art, whether it's educational purposes. I mean, there's lots of things. There's some kids who really like to learn. So you have to figure out what you like first, and then you can figure out how to apply what you like toward your purpose, right? So there's a multitude of things that go into that equation. You have to look at what your passions are, what your skills are, and your talents. You also have to look at the opportunities that present themselves. But the first step is going to figure out what you enjoy doing.
Okay, okay. So I was a lot of people been talking about lately 50-50, and men and women that men need to bring the chairs to the table. So I saw this little post just today from another podcaster. He said, how come men can't come to the table and say, I want the woman to give 100%?
Interesting. That's an interesting perspective because I believe that, and I think we've all seen this on social media, right? Um, the ratio should equal 100%, but it's not going to be every day both people putting in the same amount of effort. One person is going to be up One person is going to be down. One person is going to be stressed out. One person is going to be feeling on top of the world. And you have to figure out how to balance that. So I think it is difficult, and I think it's a misplaced expectation to say that you want someone to be 100% all the time, because it's just not practical. Right. So I think we need to get that kind of off the table of discussion, because not everyone's going to be 100% of the time. So the
Mm-hmm.
idea is, when your person is not 100%, are you going to pick up the rest of it? Are you going to help out? Are you going to carry the load? Are you going to step up? Really discuss, and not so much, why can't someone, why are they not bringing something to the table? Why are they not bringing 100%? The real question is, if you want to enter into a relationship or a partnership, are you willing to support that person when they're low? And are you willing to be their cheerleader when they're up? So I believe that that's really the foundation of that entire concept, is when you enter into a partnership, are both individuals willing to support and observe and learn and encourage and uplift, and still be there, right? A lot of people go into it um, with this naivety that it's going to be rainbows and butterflies all the time, and the moment it gets hard, especially our generation, the moment it gets hard, we want to go run somewhere else instead of sticking it out, having the hard conversations, figuring out how to fix it. So there's a lot of things to unpack there, but I think at the foundation, you really got to be willing to ask yourself, do I want to support another person?
I agree with what you said, especially with our generation and up. I feel like when hard times come, they just want to take the easy way out, and instead of working on it, taking the easy way out. When in reality, that ain't even the easy way out at all. Just opening up and being able to have communication can solve a lot of things. And I feel like, yeah, like you said, the conversation really need to go off the table. I'm about tired of it, because we all know the answer. Okay, we all know what we need to do. It's just like, why are you talking about it? Are we the only race that's talking about it? Yes, that's how I feel. We the only that
It
bring up
seems that.
these type of conversations. If you know what you're supposed to do in your role, then that conversation is unnecessary.
Oh, and you bring up a great point about communication. And one of the things that I also do is I teach effective communication. A lot of it's geared toward executive level leadership, but it can be applied across the board to anybody who's communicating in general, right? That's from your talking to your friends to dealing with your pupils if you teach or whatever the case is. And the thing about communication is that it's a dialogue. We so often, especially us Black people, look at communication as a one-way mechanism. I'm going to talk at you, you're going to listen, and then that's the end of the discussion. When in fact, the definition of a discussion means that there are two people engaging in verbal communication, right? So, we need to get to a point where you can listen,
Yeah.
and you can listen for understanding, not to respond. And then I don't get upset about what you have to say, but I can understand your position so that we can come to a solution that works in both of our favors, right? I mean, there's going to be some compromise, and that's another word that we use a lot that we don't actually put into practice. Compromise means that we are both willing to set aside something that allows us to get better.
Definitely lots of growth that has to be done in the Black community. Still working on it. I know myself. I speak it, I work on it little by little. Now, I'm gonna go into some good discussion. Let me know if you don't want to talk about it. Let me know. All right. So I read this study, and the study stated that it was two researchers and psychologists. They went to Florida State University and did a research on a group of ladies. One set was decent looking, average, and another set was more attractive. So their mission was to go to the men and ask them, would you like to go on a date with me? Would you like to go home with me? Or would you just like say that 75% said they want to have sex, no date at all. 70% said I would rather just go to your house. Now it was one dude. He said that he rather not do anything because he was actually married. So when I came to that conclusion, I was like, do y'all just want to cut to the chase and just get it done and over with? Or do you really want to get to know the person? Because I'm trying to understand in my generation, I'm 24, it's like I was told one day, I need to know how it is first before we get together because I don't need to know if I'm wasting my time or not. Not even talking about getting to know me type of wasting time, but talking about the sexual part.
Mhm.
And I feel like sometimes people need to actually, we need to really stop that. Stop mainly thinking about sex first and really need to jump in and think about who this person really is. So I want to see your point of view on that.
So that's a great topic and a great question because we have become a generation that's hypersexualized, and we've oftentimes in the black community that has been part of our Achilles heel in terms of our interaction with each other. And it's always about physical and multiple women, multiple men, and all these different types of things. And I think you hit the nail on the head about the fact that we need to stop looking at a relationship as a physical contractual agreement. Because if you are building something with someone, then the physical side is going to naturally increase and get better as your connection deepens. So the idea that you have to find out how good somebody is in bed first really speaks to a superficiality of your thinking, because you are only looking at one place of pleasure, where the relationship existence is a multitude of different ranges of ways that you can be happy and enjoy your partner. Um, I think that we really need to look at, I guess, turning it around, right? When you are building something, when you are really attracted to someone, when you are really into someone, when you guys have a really deep connection, then the rest of that stuff kind of works itself out. But if you start with the physical, whether it's good or bad, you have a very hard road to climb to get to those other places, because now it's just physical and the exchange has already been made, right? I mean, that's an exchange of energy. So now the exchange has already been made and you've not built any kind of other foundation to hold on to that. So the day that the sex gets bad, or the day that the other person doesn't want to have sex, now all of a sudden, right, it's ready to cut and run because you built your foundation on the wrong concept.
Definitely need to stop with these soul ties. Tying yourself to the wrong people can really affect you mentally and emotionally. So we're gonna tie that into the next question. I want to know, how do men decide that they want to be in a relationship with a individual? Like, when do that man, or maybe yourself, give that title, I want to be in a relationship with you?
I think it's a process. It should be a process. Let me say that it should be a process. You should be learning, you should be communicating, right? Both ways. You should be talking about your experiences. You should be discussing your desires. You should be discussing, I don't want to say expectations, because that's a slippery slope, because a lot of expectations that are unmet are also unrealistic, and that drives a wedge between people. So I don't want to say expectations, but you should at least discuss your boundaries, the things that you are willing to accept and not willing to accept, and allow the other person to decide whether or not they want to operate within the confines of your boundaries. Right? So often we put people in unfair predicaments and then get mad because they didn't perform. They had no idea that those were even lines. So I think it's good that we need to communicate those things in the beginning. And that communication is the process in which you are developing and determining whether or not this is an individual that you want to pursue a relationship with. In terms of when, for me personally, there's no timeline to that. It is both discernment, prayer, a feeling, and also the learned part of the relationship. If we're building and I enjoy our communication, I enjoy spending time with this person, I want to continue to learn more about this individual, then at some point, the natural progression should be going into a relationship as long as the other person feels the same way. And then you just kind of come together and say, you know, I think I'd like to really be exclusive and pursue something long term with that individual. I think we put too much pressure on ourselves by adhering to timelines. And, we're like, oh, it's been 6 months. Oh, it's been 8 months. So what? I'm not using that as an excuse to not commit, because I know someone's going to hear this and think, oh, well, I don't have to be in a rush. You don't have to be in a rush, but don't play and drag somebody along either. That's unfair to both parties. You're putting yourself and this other person in a disadvantage, and you're doing them a disservice. So please, whoever's going to be listening to this, don't think that I'm saying you can just drag this thing along. If you're going to be in, once you know you want to be in, go all in. If you want to be out and be gone. So I think we just need to be serious about that, because we play a lot of games, and we don't like, humans don't want to be alone. We understand that. We're social beings. However, you talked about soul ties, being tied to the wrong person. Many of us are tying ourselves to the wrong people because we're lonely and because we don't want to have to grow. That's a whole other discussion. We want to sit with somebody who's going to be okay with us being exactly where we are and not going to push us to get any better. So because of that, we're comfortable and there's no accountability. So I'll just sit with this person for a while until I feel like going somewhere else.
You preaching. You preaching for real. Man, accountability. That's the word, accountability. Now I hear it all the time when it comes to me. I'ma speak it. I hear it all the time. They would say, "Kashar, you need to take accountability when you're wrong." I will at the end. But when you said that a lot of people like to, tie themselves to people knowing that they, just settling basically. And I feel like people need to go back to, like you said, boundaries. A lot of times, like this post I saw, the woman actually, she started dating a guy, right? But off the jump, she had sex with him. But she told him she want to provide. That's like, to me, giving mixed signals a little bit, because you gave it to him too fast. But yet again, we all grown. So we females and men, so we grown. It don't matter what time limit sex is on, but at the same time, she needed to stand on her boundaries, which she did not. She let time go by, and then it got to her that, oh, I feel like I really didn't do enough. I just let the sex keep going, not really getting to know him, and he's not really showing the progress or potential or expectations that I wanted. Yet you didn't speak all the expectations to him. Feeling like bad, and she basically broke up with him through a text message. And I felt like she shouldn't have did that through a text message, but I feel like she was being vulnerable and that she felt guilty or some type of way on her side. um what you say? What you think?
No, I think you're exactly right. A lot of people internalize poor decision making and then project it. So I think that's a classic example of that, where she felt bad because she didn't enforce her boundaries. And one thing I talk about a lot on my podcast is setting boundaries is one thing, enforcing them is completely different. Many of us have boundaries. Many of us know what our boundaries are, but it's the enforcement part that we all fail at in a lot of cases. So she might have known her boundaries, but she didn't enforce her boundaries. And so because she felt bad about not enforcing her boundaries, this goes back to what we talked about earlier. There were lines that he didn't even know existed. So she compounded that situation by first not enforcing her boundaries and then not explaining what happened and why she felt the way she did. She just broke it off. Now she's entitled to do so, but that's a learning opportunity for her next time to make sure that you enforce the boundaries that you want to have for yourself, and make sure that you are uh, getting the self-respect that you want to have. I think that's a big part of this is the self-respect that we demand. We need to give to other people, respect their boundaries. But when you talk about demanding self-respect, that means you have to enforce that boundary. If this is if I'm standing on this line says this is not happening until I feel comfortable. That's it. And whether or not you choose to still engage with me tells me a lot about what kind of person you are, and that's okay. Just means that you're not for me. We have to get comfortable with that.
I definitely agree with you, and I also feel for her because I've been there before. But
Mhm.
like you said, it's a learning lesson. Take it as a learning lesson. Um, Now, with that being said, I want to know. A lot of people think that, well, a lot of men says that they don't want a too independent woman. They don't want a woman who says they don't need him. I don't need a man. I just want one. They so do we need to just throw that word away? Women need to throw the word away. We don't need men. Everybody say women and men need each other. Explain how so.
So I think we're hung up on that term need. Need implies that there is a deficiency that can only be filled by another individual. And there are some things that a man provides and a woman provides in a relationship. Are those necessities? They shouldn't be, right? If you need a person to fill some sort of a void, that's a place where you haven't healed. So we got to be careful about that, right? Because that's a place where you're not looking, go back to accountability, you're not looking to fix that place. You're looking for someone else to patch that place. So we got to be careful about that. Now, to talk about independent, I think that independence is a blessing and a curse, and it all depends on the context and the person. I am fully supportive. My person is super independent. And one of the things that one of the places where we've had to learn is that independence does not mean you have to push me out of the picture. Right? I understand that you're independent. I understand you can do it on your own, but you no longer have to. But that was a place that she had to learn and had to let go of some things and get into what I think people are calling it like their soft woman, feminine era, right? Where they don't have to feel like they have to do everything on their own. But that takes a willingness, and it takes the acceptance of realizing that, okay, I'm in a different situation now. I don't have to be this person. So I don't think there's anything wrong with a woman being independent. What I think happens is some of these women don't want to give up any type of independence, which then makes their man feel emasculated and inadequate. And that's where the disconnect comes in. So you may be independent. You may not need a man. You shouldn't need a person. But with that being said, you shouldn't ostracize your person because of your independence. And that should all work together and say, I can do my own thing. I can go make my money, but I want you to come with me on this journey. I want you to be part of this. I want you to be part of these experiences. I want you to be with me as I grow and as I accelerate. So a lot of people who are independent, and men do this too, who are that independent, it's almost a me versus you mentality, right? As opposed to us being a cooperative and a partnership, I'm in competition with my spouse. That's where we drive a lot of wedges with that independence. I've got to have more money than you. I've got to do more than you. I've got to have more awards than you. I've got to have more accolades than you, as opposed to saying, hey, look, I'm getting ready to be recognized. I really want you to be there. and be supportive, right? A lot of men, especially independent women, just want to know that we matter in the grand scheme of things. It's not about me being more independent than you or doing better than you. It's just, hey, I see that you can kick butt by yourself. I'm in the picture now. Just don't leave me out in the cold. And I think a lot of men don't know how to communicate that. Is I just want to be part of the experience of your excellence.
I know. Okay. But like you said, I definitely agree. Certainly learning process, definitely agree. A lot of us women, we definitely just used to being independent. So when a person come into the equation, we're like, some things we don't want to stop having control over ourselves. So I definitely agree. And with that saying that the man just want to be a part of it, I get it. I get it. But a lot of times the women think that it's like a controlling, it's all about controlling in our heads and our power being taken over. And me personally, I'm very defensive. So I just have a guard up. And so I've been this way independent for a while. So until a person come in my life and show me that I can put that guard down and allow them to be a part of my life fully, then, and that happens. But I have to let them, show me.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the key,
Now,
right?
I want to know, I want to know about the tax bracket situation and topic. So, a lot of females think that men, when it comes to being more successful, I think we talked about this earlier, independence and everything. Why is it such an issue to be with a woman who may be making a little bit more money than you or in a better situation than you at the moment?
It's an insecurity. It's an insecurity because society has traditionally said that the men are supposed to be the breadwinner, the men are supposed to be the providers, women are supposed to be the nurturers. And one of the things that I talk about a lot is the fact that that dynamic does not have to be traditional for it to work. I can sit here and say 100%. I have always said I would be a stay-at-home dad. I'd rather sit and write and play with the kids and do all kind of other fun stuff. I don't want to go to work. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't trying to clock in. Not everybody's built like that, and I get it. Um, but there's nothing wrong with your spouse, your wife, or your girlfriend, or whatnot, making more money. Um, Back to what we talked about, it's the competitive thing. If that's a problem for you, that your wife makes more money, you need to look in the mirror and find out why that's an issue, right? You shouldn't get mad at her because she's being successful. You need to find out why that's a problem for you, right? Whether that's something that happened in your past with your family, or that's something that you've always grown up thinking that you're supposed to be the top getter. I'm sure there's a lot of different things that go into that, a lot of different facets that go into that. But that's a situation where you need to look internally. You need to do some introspective work and find out why you have an issue with that. Because if you are a team, right? If you're a team, then it shouldn't matter, But if she's super independent, doesn't want you to be part of nothing, and she makes more money than you, I could see why you would feel some kind of way about that, because now you feel like she's just waiting and wasting her time. And I'm just gonna say it for what it is. You may feel like she's wasting her time until something better comes along. Like you're just a placeholder if she's not allowing you to come in. So I could get that, but at the same time, and I talk about this in my book a lot, the harsh reality for men is that it doesn't really matter what's going on externally. We can always get better as men. We have to start there no matter what. We have to start there no matter what. And that's the thing that no one wants to talk about. We want to always look out the window and talk about all these different things that are happening to us. Granted, they are mostly true and accurate, but it's not an excuse to not become a better person and a better version of yourself. So even if the situation is not what you had intended to be and the marriage or the relationship is not what you thought it was going to be, there's still some work. You have to take accountability, there's that word again, for your role in your own anguish.
I agree. I really do agree with that. Having to take a role and accountability in your own circumstances, and thinking about what did you do, and not only what did that person do. You got to think about what you can work on. That goes to saying, two people get together and you're in a relationship. What did you gain out of that relationship, or what did you lose? At the end of the day, you both learning something. And if you lost more than what you gained, then neither one of y'all learned or benefit in any way. So I want to ask you this last question. If you don't want to answer it, it's okay. It's just a little uncomfortable question. People don't talk about that much, but it needs to be talked about. Okay, so a lot of times men have said that it's been memes out. A woman will come home and the man had a hard, long day from work, but he's interested in his woman at that moment, and he goes over to kiss her on the shoulders and get it started. She shrug him off and say, "Not today, not today." So, what do you do when you feel like your partner has a low sex drive?
So I'm actually glad you brought this up, um, because I think we need to really look at the emotional situation, the emotional state. Um, if your partner has a low, and I'm gonna say this is a general statement, men and women, and I'll talk about myself in just a moment. If you have a low sex drive, then or you observe your partner with a low sex drive, you need to ask what's behind that. So often we stop at the low sex drive, right? Okay, she's not wanting to sleep with me, and then we just discard. Right? I mean, we never go any further into understanding what's behind that. Is it work? Is it the kids? Is she overwhelmed? Is she stressed out? Is there someone else? I know we want to jump to that part, but oftentimes, especially with women, it's not that there's anyone else that has her attention, but there's something else that is keeping her preoccupied. The same goes for men. I won't put this out there because this is a two-way street, as we've been talking about. I can say personally, if I'm emotionally unstable, I've got a lot of stress on me, I've got a lot of things happening, what's going on at work, I got a lot of projects and irons in the fire, I have a low sex drive. Not because I'm not interested in my person, but because my mind is preoccupied. And everything starts up here. So if your mind's somewhere else and you're stressed out, stress is a hormone, by the way, so it's going to adversely affect you physically, then it's no wonder that you may even want it, but you're not going to perform. So in those positions and in those situations, try to have the conversation. If this is a long running thing, then it's even more important that you have the conversation to understand what's going on underneath all that, because what you're looking at is a symptom of a bigger problem. I know that the low sex drive is not because I don't find my person absolutely stunning. It's because I'm too busy being focused on a bunch of other stuff and I can't get my mind off of it. Or I'm stressed out, or I'm frustrated, or I'm angry, or whatever the case is. So you got to be willing to have that's a tough conversation to have. But you got to be willing to even as the man, approach your lady and find out what can you do? What's going on? And not to be argumentative, not to point the finger, but to come from a place of genuine care. Hey, listen, you've been kind of off lately. Is something going on? Can we talk about it? Do you want to talk about it? I just want to make sure that we're good. Also, something that I'm trying to implement. that I see a lot of people do that may be able to stave this off on the front end is a regular check in once a week, once a month, whatever you all deem appropriate, but regularly check in. Hey, am I doing everything I need to be doing? Am I dropping the ball anywhere? Do you need my assistance with something? Can I help you anywhere else? Check in. Sometimes it's all it takes to turn the tide in your relationship. Just check in. Let your person know that you give a damn. And you want them to be at their very best, and you want to help them get there. So I want to put that out there too. While we're talking about this conversation, because I think that helps keep you from getting into this. Now we're not being intimate. Now we're not being close. Now there's no connection because we've just been two ships passing in the night, right? No one's really doing anything. We're going through the motions. This is just our regular routine. We're not stopping to take time to spend together. All that stuff's important.
The only person who said that, I'm glad you said it. Definitely listening and hoping everybody else listening too. We do need to sit down and actually just, how are you? Are we okay? Just get the conversation going because a lot of times people just be busy with life or going to work every day, this and that every day, that we don't sit down and actually ask, is there? A lot of people just think that it's automatically okay, and it might not be to the man, and it might not be to the woman, but they haven't said anything. And if you don't say nothing, you can't work on it. So you're definitely right. I really do appreciate you coming on to the show and, joining the conversation. So I want you to end it by telling everybody where they can connect with you and your book.
Sure. You can find me on Facebook at Langley Casual Word Chaser. I also have a public figure page, which is just Langley Chaser. You see my name on the screen. The Casual Word, you can reach me at The Casual Word on Instagram. You can also reach me by email at thecasualword@gmail.com. Working on a new website. It'll be up soon called The Casual Word as well, thecasualword.com. You can find my podcast, my show, Casual Word Radio, anywhere you get your podcast. I'm on all the platforms. We also have a YouTube channel if you want to watch some of these interviews. Actually on the Roku as well, King Network TV. You can watch some of these interviews as well. And we'll be looking to add to that experience with some other streaming platforms very soon. So I'll make those announcements once they're finalized, but we're looking for those as well, some different channels and stuff that we'll be on. But again, I am super available. You can hit me on the messenger. You can send me an email. I'm always willing to chat. I'm always open. All my books are on Amazon. You can search my name, Langley Shazer. All my books will come up. If you'd like one to get signed, purchase it, send it to me. I'll send it back to you. I'll cover the shipping to send it back. No problem at all. And, we'll be able to connect and help everybody continue this journey on being the best version of themselves.
I like the comments everywhere. I just love it. Black History Month. I love it. A lot of Black history has been made, and I feel like we're so creative and awesome. Keep doing it. Keep going. Keep the men up and letting them know that they have somebody to talk to and things that they need to think about. Because a lot of times men feel like there's nobody here for them. Like they're just alone. They're just out here in the world. And I'm glad you're here to let them know that you're setting an example and that you're always open to it. So I really appreciate that. All right, y'all. So we have another guest, last final guest, and his name is Roosevelt Butler. He is the owner of Conversations with Purpose, another podcaster. All I can say is Black Excellence, and I'm gonna let him come in and introduce himself.
This is
It's your girl Kay, and I'm back with another banger. So I have a special guest coming on, and it's a couple special guests. I have actually three today for the topic: What do men really want? And I want to speak on this just because lately we've been asking what women want, but we really, as women, want to understand what do men really want? So, my guests are Benjamin Ford, who is the owner of the Bloodline podcast, and then Roosevelt Butler, the owner of Conversation with Purpose, and lastly, but not leastly, Langley Cesar, the owner of Casual Word. And honestly, I had fun learning about these gentlemen and getting to know them through being podcasters, Black podcasters at that, Black excellence, Black History Month. So we're gonna get to the topic, and I'm gonna bring my guest in, Mr. Benjamin Ford.
How y'all doing?
Hey Benjamin, can you introduce yourself to the audience for me?
Hey, how y'all doing? I'm Benjamin Ford, aka the God King, the host and founder of the Royal Bloodline Podcast, the home of Black history and Black business.
All right, so the topic today is about what men really want. And I read this study about two psychologists named Clark, Russell Clark, and Elaine Hatford. They did a study at Florida State University with a group of young ladies and young men. And they tested on the young men to see who would take the woman home on a first date, who would just want sexual advances, and who really just didn't want to date at all. And so they put a group of casual looking young ladies, as they say, decent, and then a group of attractive, and see which man would choose who. And so about 70% of the men actually chose to go home with her. And 75% wanted the sexual advances and no type of date at all. So I would want to ask you, Benjamin, when it comes to a woman and attentions on the first date, what's your mindset and where are you at that moment?
Well, as far as when it comes to women on first date, like the purpose of a first date is to actually see if there's chemistry, if we like each other, if this can possibly grow to be something, or if we just better off as friends. A lot of people got the notion that, especially now, we see it all the time on social media, that the first date you got to be spending hundreds of dollars and all this other nonsense, and that's bullshit. Like, you don't even know me, I don't know you. Yes, I'm willing to invest in you, but that comes with time. Like, that comes with time. That comes with me seeing that you're worth the investment. Like, I work hard, like hard for my money. And I don't want to
Mhm.
just give it away and just spend $300 on a first date just knowing you. Like, how come we can't go do some of the same stuff that you say that you're interested in the first place?
Yeah, I get it. Honestly, what my mindset is on the first date is to get to know each other. It's not necessarily about how much you spending. It's about, are you actually trying to get to know me? Are you asking the right questions? What are your intentions by your movements and body language and words? That's what I'm watching. But I do feel like if a man does ask the woman, where would you like to go? That's she's gonna take that in consideration. Not talking about the little thing on Facebook with the woman wanting to go to the factory of cheesecake and then get there and she didn't want to get out the car. I don't understand that situation at all. What you think about that situation?
I think that's dumb. That's where women have this thing that my best friend, who's a woman, likes to call. Can I curse on this show?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's what my best friend would like to call insufficient pussy privilege
Mm-hmm.
at this point, because it's like, you said you like the Cheesecake Factory. Maybe he likes the Cheesecake Factory too. Maybe since you done been there a couple of times, you done tried everything on the menu, but you got this favorite, and it just gives you time to sit back and talk to this person. Versus you
Mm-hmm.
thinking that he got to take you to some super expensive restaurant that you probably can't even afford to take yourself to. Like, the purpose of the first date is to get to know each other. Like, what do you like to do?
I like to go to places that I never tried before and try the food and give honest reviews. Even on dates, I would like to go try different new places and have fun together, getting to know each other, the surroundings, and don't be on your phones, just one on one getting to know that person.
Okay, so with it still being early in the morning, if I was to ask you on a date, we going to brunch somewhere out here in Tampa. We're gonna go to brunch, someplace you probably ain't never been, and we're gonna sit, we're gonna talk. I'm gonna point out stuff in the city to you, and hopefully you get to learn some stuff about the city that I'm living in. Hopefully you get to learn some stuff about me, and I get to learn some stuff about you. That's the purpose of a first date. So her whole
Mm-hmm.
thing was corny, and for her to get mad at this man and not even get out the car was corny. And to her, he's corny because he did what she asked.
Yeah, yeah. She thought he was corny because he did what she asked, yet she probably was expecting totally different outcome. And I feel like she just did too much and it made women look very bad. Um, but we're gonna go to the next question. Do men really care about imperfections in a woman? I saw on this movie that the woman had just got a call from the doctor that she got breast cancer and that she was about to start losing her hair and might have to take off one of her breasts. And the main thing that her man, really was worried about was her appearance. To him, is he still going to be attracted to her? He wasn't worried about the pain that she's going through and that being by her side. And I really felt like that was kind of selfish. So, what's your point of view on that question?
I think one thing we have to do as adults, people in the dating age, we have to learn how to separate lust from love, because if you truly loved her, you'd care more about her pain and what she was going through. You would, like, because real love is supposed to be unconditional, so it wouldn't matter if you got bit by a tiger and they took your arm off. If I love you, I love you. You can have one arm. I still love you. We conflict lust and love so much that we be confused. And I think that dude was in lust. He wasn't in love. He just cared about her appearance, because as you get old, shit starts sagging. Looks change.
Yes, looks does change. That's why I feel like people shouldn't go about appearance. At first, when you meeting somebody, I know they say what catches your eye when you're looking at somebody. And it might be appearance at first, but after that, it need to really be about that person mindset, the character they are, their personality, and who they are. Not necessarily about the appearance because that person can be a bad bitch. It can be a bad bitch and has a horrible attitude and character and everything, and that could make her appearance actually seem ugly. So I want to talk about back to that provider topic and everything. So I feel like people get the provider, like women get provider word mixed up when a man just having money. I feel like a provider is a man who is tending to his adult responsibility, holding his own and himself. It doesn't matter what tax bracket he is in, he got himself. So that if he come into a relationship with his woman, he's not only gonna have himself, but also hold her down and be confident within himself that he can have her back. But this topic has conflict with it because women are wanting men to be the provider and have her back. But a lot of men are saying that I want a woman who isn't broke. I want a woman who has my back when I fall down too. And I get that. I agree. So what do you think about a woman and the subject of the provider?
Well, I think that the term is definitely misused and mishandled a lot, because not only should you and your spouse be able to provide for each other financially, but y'all should be able to provide for each other mentally, emotionally,
Mhm.
spiritually. Like, I hear this topic going around all the time when men ask women what do they bring to the table. That's what men are asking. Like, can you be my peace? Like, I'm a black man here in this white man's country. I'm at war with them all day. They don't want to pay me. They see me as a threat. I don't want to come home after work and fight you too. So can you be my peace? Can you provide me some sort of comfort, some sort of relaxation where I'm not sitting here in my own home in our home and stressed out too. So providing is more than just financial needs. Because I lost my mom a couple of months ago, and I'm literally doing everything by myself because I don't have nobody here with me.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, I need somebody to provide me with some comfort, and that don't necessarily mean sex. It means when I want to cry, I need a shoulder to cry on. When I'm hurting, I need somebody that I can be able to vent to that's not going to throw it up in my face. Because, like I said, provision is more than financial. It's mental, it's spiritual, physical, emotional, intellectual. Like, can you teach me something? Because
Mm-hmm.
if you're unteachable, then like, what's the point of us even being in a relationship together or a situationship? Because we need to be learning and growing together, especially if this is supposed to be something that's supposed to be flourishing.
That goes back to the subject about it's more about the person character than money. And honestly, in your situation, I'm really sorry. I feel like the woman should be coming in and making sure you're okay mentally, like you said, you're okay emotionally. Asking those questions and checking up on you every day means a lot. I think people take that for granted. But like you said, that term provider is getting really confusing. And I feel like on my note with women, we're saying that we have the table, but we just want the men to bring the table. We're saying that we have the table, but we want the men to bring the chairs too. Basically, having our back too. When it comes to what you stated about peace, because you're having all this build up at work and you want to come home and you want to relax, you might want to vent. So that person need to be your safe space. That person don't need to be rah 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 at you, but they need to be listening instead of reacting and responding quickly because they're not really actively listening. I actually get it because I'm working on that too. um I don't want to come home and not being asked, how was your day? How was work? Are you okay? Do you need anything? Because a lot of times people are stressed at work, and when they come home, they want peace. They want some relaxation. So I totally get it. Um, so I really want to ask you. I have seen lately in a modern age, women have been proposing to men. Women have been very bold in making the first move and going to men because a lot lately men have been very standoffish and they won't, go to the woman first. And I never understand because a woman want a man to come first. So what is your opinion on a woman who is very confident and independent in herself and self-aware and know what she wants? Do you think you would, talk to her if she came to you first?
I don't have a woman approaching me and showing her interest. However, if you trying to propose to me, stop. We not doing that. Like, it's one thing to show that you're interested in me. Like, I flirt, you flirt back. You invite me out on dates. That's one thing. But for you to propose to me, that's weird to me. Maybe it's because I'm a traditionalist and I think the man should make that step. But if the man ain't bringing it up in the first place, then he probably don't want to get married. A lot of men don't want to get married now because it's not even an actual marriage. It's more of a partnership. It's more of women seeing what they can get out of somebody versus actually being there for better or worse, for sickness and health and all that other stuff. Like, I've been divorced for 3 years now, and
Hmm.
my ex-wife left because she said she wasn't happy. Well, it's not my job to keep you happy. It's my job to add to your happiness. Like, if you can't be happy within yourself, you can't be happy with nobody. And now we see this shift where women are proposing to men because men tired of getting taken advantage of. And I got on my new show a whole discussion about it, talking about the war against men. Like, women abuse men just as much, and the way they do it the most is through finances. Men tired of getting taken advantage of. That's why these women keep coming out and proposing because men they're afraid to take that leap. Because if they do take that leap and things don't work out, this man got something for himself. Even if he ain't a millionaire, he's still losing half of that because she decided she's unhappy.
Okay, on that type of response, I would say that most of the time I wouldn't. propose to a man because at this moment I how society is, and I haven't really seen a successful and healthy marriage. All I've seen is situationships, common law, and in that such. So I don't believe in marriage at the moment, but I do believe in if I were married, that I will allow that man to propose to me. Now, um, going to the next question, a lot of men think that women are taught when their mothers aren't teaching them how to be a woman, feminine, soft, or how to become a wife. I necessarily don't think that a mother should teach them how to become a wife, but to know what it means to be a wife and what it means to be a woman and being feminine and softness. But a lot of men have been saying that it's not their responsibilities to make a woman soft and get her out of her masculinity. But we're saying as women that if a man wants us to be in our soft girl era, that they should honestly just make sure we relaxed. Make sure they're upholding their role as the provider or honestly just the leader. If you can uphold your role as a leader and we can sit back and say, okay, he doing what he's supposed to do. I don't have to worry. But if we do, and we have to take on that role as the provider and making decisions that the man should, then we're gonna feel like we're in the man pants, like in their shoes. All right, so you to just answer that question about masculinity, energy, and women, and feminine energy, and all that such.
Well, I think one issue is no, it's not a man's job to put a woman in her masculine, I mean, in her feminine energy, but a lot of our mothers don't teach their daughters how to be wives because a lot of our mothers aren't wives or taught to be wives themselves. Because in our culture, we have this thing called the strong, independent black woman, and that's how most of black women are taught is to be the strong, independent black woman. So therefore, when an actual masculine man comes around, she don't know how to do that. She don't know how to just be soft and be feminine and just be in her actual nature because of that. And that's where we keep messing up. Is it's not my job. Just like it's not a woman's job to teach a man how to be a man. It's not a man's job to teach a woman how to be a woman or how to be a wife. You can say what you like, but it's not my job to teach you how to be feminine. I don't know nothing about being feminine. I can
Yeah,
teach you how to fix trucks and buses. I can teach you how to rebuild an engine in 15 minutes, but I can't teach you how to be feminine because it's not my job. It's not in my nature. And because most of our parents weren't taught how to be husbands or wives, we don't know how to teach the next generation that. And I was at the point not too long ago, I was like, you know what, maybe marriage just ain't for me, but I'm getting married again. Forget all that noise because I believe in marriage. I
that's
believe
good.
in what it stands for. I believe in the traditions of marriage and
Mhm,
till death do us part for better or worse and all that other good stuff.
mhm. Yes, I definitely have been at that situation and point since I was young, and even now getting older, I was like, I don't believe in marriage. I don't want marriage. But I have always knew that when I get older, I want the dream house that I want. I want my goals, my career, but I do know that I wanted somebody to share it with. My happiness, share my happiness with. That comes with the subject that a man or a woman isn't responsible of making that person happy. You're just responsible of adding on to her happiness, being a bonus, being in her life. And that goes on with me saying, it was a video going viral stating that the girl said, I don't need a man. I just want a man. And I have said it before too. And honestly, I never thought about how the man will perceive it. It wasn't like intentional, like I'm trying to be mean, but it's meaning that I don't necessarily need a man, but I want one. That means I want one in my life, to add on to my happiness, what I'm working on myself, and add on to his happiness. But I don't necessarily need one, But I feel when a man think that we say we don't need one, that we don't need him at all. So do women and men really need each other?
Yes, we do, and I wish we would stop saying that to each other. We may not have a desire for a man or a woman in our life at that point in time, but we need each other. Because if me and you go out on a date and somebody come and say some slick shit to you, whether we just meeting each other or not, you're gonna want me to check the dude. So you need me for my
Definitely,
protection.
definitely.
You may be the only friend I have, so I'm gonna need you for your ear. I'm gonna need you for to nurture and cater to me in some shape, form, or fashion. I wish we would fix our vocabulary and say I don't have a desire for a man right now, because eventually we,
You're
we
right.
we do need each other. We need each
You're
other
right.
whether we want to admit it or not. Like right now, I'm at work. I would love to go home to a meal, even if it was just a freaking bologna sandwich. But that's not gonna happen. Okay.
Mhm.
So would I like somebody in my house cooking for me right now while she on her day off? Yes. But to say I don't need a woman in my life, that's because I'm not gonna sleep with my homeboys.
We be thinking y'all spend too much time with your homeboy. You might as well be with them.
Yeah, and we think the same way about y'all. Like I've literally ran into a situation where I was like, you spend too much time over there. You need to start spending some time at your house or either in my house because you spend too much time at that girl's house for y'all not to be in no kind of relationship other
Hmm.
than a friendship. And it's like, don't keep saying you don't need because even most lesbians use strap-ons, and that's a male figure.
Hmm.
So stop saying you don't need it. Even as a lesbian woman, you may not have a desire for one in your life at this point in time, but to say you don't need a man or you don't need a woman is crazy. You may not need them for all the stuff you think you that men think that you need them for, but you need one. Just like I need a woman in my life. I'm not gonna sleep with none of my homeboys. I'm not gonna expect my homeboys to sit here and cry with me about my mother dying.
Hmm.
I don't expect that to happen. I don't expect for my homeboys to be like, oh man, it's gonna be okay. They may say that, but are they really gonna mean it? You as a woman, you can probably change your tire, but do you want to change your tire? Do you want to fix your own oil? No. Who mostly does that? Men. So we got a need for each other all the time. We may not have a desire for each other all the time, but we definitely need each other. So we got to fix our vocabulary because this men versus woman shit, this I don't need a man, I don't need a woman shit. No, like we're dumb. We're gonna kill ourselves. Like the entire planet is gonna kill ourselves. We're gonna depopulate ourselves by keeping that mindset. Why we at war with each other when we're supposed to be together? It's nature to be together.
I agree with you. I need to change that word, the term. Like you said, we do need each other, but we might not desire each other at that given moment or stage in our life. I agree with you. I might do need you, change your tire to fix such and such, because I know I call my daddy in a minute. But if I have a man, I'm just gonna call him. I need you to do this. Can you do this for me? Because I can't do it. So I do get it. We do need you for something, but it may not be for everything. And I do feel like each other want to be needed. Because if we don't need each other, what are we here for? That goes into the play. If you're in a relationship with each other, both of y'all need to be benefiting. It's not meaning that she a gold digger or he's a gold digger. It means that both of y'all need to be coming together and grow, benefiting out of each other. Because if you get out that relationship, did you lose or did you gain? Both of y'all need to learn something and not come out of it with nothing. Because if you did, then that was just not a waste of time, but not really gaining nothing from that relationship. Um,
Yeah,
okay. So this will be my last question to you. I'm gonna let you respond to that.
yeah, it would be very unbeneficial for both of y'all to be sitting here 5 years together, 2 years together, whatever the time may be, and y'all not gain nothing. And one thing
Mhm.
that I try to tell people now is this okay to be independent and still be interdependent on each other? Like my parents, before my mom died, they was together for 30 years. Both of them had their own money, both of them had their own hobbies, both of them had their own goals and their own dreams, but they came together and put that shit together and was self-made millionaires and can't nobody tell them nothing because
Mhm.
they were very independent, but they still depended on each other. My dad's a Google engineer. He worked stupid ass hours. When he got home, his food was ready. His bath was ran. My
Mhm.
mom was a nurse before she retired. On my dad's days off, when my mom got home, dinner was cooked. Her bath was ran. So this whole thing of, and it goes back to I don't need each other. Yes, you do.
Mhm.
It's okay to be independent, even in a relationship, because you shouldn't conform to what your significant other wants just because that's what they want and need. But you can be very independent, have your own hobbies, have your own goals, have your own desires, and still depend on each other to get the job done. You got to look at the bigger picture and just stop looking at what I can get out of this versus what can we do for each other.
Definitely feel like what can we do for each other, because I don't go into nothing thinking that, oh, what can I get out of it, because that's very selfish and one-sided. I want to know what can we get out of it together, and if it's not beneficial for both of us, then we need to separate. So going on the next topic, and I'm gonna let you enjoy the rest of your day at work. What makes a man decide he wants to be in a relationship? Like, what's the deciding factor that he's ready to put that label on her?
Well, I can't speak for all men, but for what I look for is can you be a listening ear? Can you be? Do you show any signs of femininity? Because if you don't show any signs of femininity and softness, then I don't have nothing to say to you because I'm not trying to date my homies.
Mm-hmm.
If you have kids, because since I've been here, I've been dating women with somehow it's been stepdaddy season for me for like the past 3 years. How are you with your kids? So if something does transpire between me and you and we have kids, how are you with the kids you already got now? How nurturing are you to them? And how do you treat other people? How you treat yourself because you're supposed to be your top priority. So do you take time in caring for yourself and relax a little bit instead of just go 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 all the time? Because that shit kill you faster than anything else will. Like, do you have goals? Do you have ambition? Because if you just want to sit and scam, and you say you want a flat stomach, but you rather go to the doctor to get the flat stomach versus putting in the work to get it, that's going to make you want it more and make you feel more accomplished, then I don't know. Like we're podcasters. We got to work for this shit. These
Mm-hmm.
the audience don't just come. We got to keep reinventing our show almost every season, every episode. We have to keep reinventing ourselves. We have to continue to grow. So I guess my biggest thing is I'm looking for a woman with a growth mindset. Because if you don't want to grow, then ain't nothing I can do for you. If you want to hold on to all your hurt and all your pain from past relationships, past situationships, trauma, childhood trauma, if you holding on to that and that defines you as a person, you don't have a growth mindset, and I can't do nothing for you because I'm growing. I'm on a journey. I'm trying to better myself so I can better those around me.
I definitely agree. Growing up, like I stated, I really didn't see too much of marriages or successful marriage. Never been to a wedding, none of that. So, but I also looked at my parents and how they interact with each other, and you see some things that you like, and you listen to things that you don't, and you learn from that. So like you said, you was at a point that you didn't want marriage, but now you do. Me personally, I don't see marriage just because of society and everything and as such at this moment, but I'm not gonna say that later on I won't. But I have always said that I will never get married. Now, I agree with the goals. I've always stated that I want somebody who is goal mind oriented, because I am a hustler. I am a dedicated person. I'm a hard worker. I'm an entrepreneur. I can get money like this, make up any type of ways. I'm very creative, and I want that individual to be the same way. Now, not may not be the same way as me, but in their own way. And if I'm motivating that person and they're not learning nothing from me as they should, like they're not actively trying to get themselves together, then I can't deal with it. I can't, and I'm gonna separate because I'm draining myself to try to pour into that person. Um, I do feel like when it comes to softness and stuff, a man do want a woman who's very feminine and soft, but the things that I've been through in life, I'm not that soft. I am feminine, but I'm not soft right now. So it may not seem like that to men. I get that a lot. You're too independent. You work too much. You seem like you the man. I don't want a man. And I feel offended because I'm a hard worker. I'm very independent. I do want somebody to come fix this or come release some of this from me, and take it off my shoulders. Because I'm soft. I'm not soft because I feel like I have to be this hard shell all the time. So I do get that you have to be focused on yourself and work on yourself first before you try to get with someone because that person wants you togetherness put together and want that soft person. So I do understand and get where you're coming from. And I would want the same from the man. I can't teach you how to be a man. And I have said that before. If I got to teach you how to be a man, then I don't want you. So I do agree with that. And I appreciate you coming in today and answering my questions. Women really needed to know this. So before we get out of this episode, can you give some wisdoms to men who think that they don't have a purpose or they wake up and don't really know why they're waking up, don't have goals? Can you give some type of motivation today?
If I was to give some advice, words of wisdom or motivation, I would say, as far as finding a purpose, figure out what you like, figure out who you are. Because if you don't know who you are and you don't have a vision for yourself, then you're just gonna be going around in circles. Find a vision for yourself. Where do you see yourself in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? Like I went to the military and I came back, and the people that was sitting on the corner was the same people sitting on the corner 8 years later because they have no vision. Find a vision for yourself, make a plan, and push forward. Turn that day into day one. You want to be in better shape? Start today. You want to write a book? Start today. You want to start a podcast? Start today. You want to do whatever. Want to be a better mechanic? Start today. You want to talk to more girls? Start today. I ain't saying be a hoe and take advantage of women, but figure out you want to date better. Figure out a different approach. Have a vision. Where you see yourself at. That's where you start. Where do you see yourself? And work from there.
Thank you for that advice. I want to go back to because I think you stated about the woman going to the doctor and trying to get weight loss quick instead of doing it on her own. A lot of times that's not the that's not even it. Women go to the doctor and you would get these shots or you'll get surgery, but even with all those helps, you still have to do the work regardless. So I feel like people should just do work in the beginning. So I do agree with that. But if they don't do the work, then it doesn't even matter about all the money they spend or the shots they take because it will be like you wasted your own time. Because personally, I'm a procrastinator when it comes to that, when it comes to losing weight. But you have to do the work if you want the results. So I do agree with you're saying on that. And I hope you have a good day at work. And I appreciate you coming on to the show.
Thank you. I hope you have a great day as well. I thank you for letting me come on the show and speak. I know we done had some difficulties trying to do this, but thank you again for having me on. When I get ready to record again, you're definitely invited to both my shows to come and hang out with me and discuss some more topics like this. Thank you so much for having me.
So all right, y'all. So we just had a great episode, and I appreciate the knowledge on every guest that came. And honestly, the repeating topic, the repeating motto and lesson you should get out this episode is knowing your boundaries, standing on your boundaries, working on communication. Black community, we got to work on it as a whole. Stop having all these unrealistic expectations and honestly get to know a person. Get to know the person and work on communication. Women, it's not men against us. It's not women versus men. It's unity. It's us needing to work together. And until that happens, it's always going to be men versus women. So it's Kashar with another banger. Y'all check me out for next time. See you later.
I'm still here, Rose. You know what I'm saying? Rose Mon, but you catch me on Mixed Culture, Roosevelt and Kimmy on Facebook. Roosevelt. Hello, 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 hello. How everybody doing tonight? Blessings to everybody. This is Roosevelt. My podcast is Mixed Culture, Conversation with a Purpose. Catch me on Mixed Culture with Roosevelt and Kimmy on Facebook. Mixed under slash culture 20.
With what do men want? So Roosevelt, let's go back to what the study said last time, what I said about Florida State University. I want to know why do people or why do women think that when it comes to getting to know a woman, it's just the physical y'all want to get to know instead of the person?
Now, it depends on the man. Me personally, I believe the woman's mind is the best thing to get to know because once you can understand her thinking and how she is, I think that's the most attractive thing about a woman is the way she tends to herself, the way she articulates herself.
How do you feel about a successful woman, like tax bracket than you? How do you feel about
How I feel about if my woman or a woman that I'm pursuing is in a different tax bracket, that don't mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's good that she's doing her thing, and that's an awesome thing. Hey, let's get more. How can we help each other get more? You know what I'm saying? That's just a good thing. It's not a negative thing at all.
Okay, so what type of advice would you give to young men or men out there who not necessarily know of a goal or don't have goals? Or basically, do they have a purpose? What type of
I,
motivation would you give to them?
I would say all to all my young brothers, all the men out there, period, is the first thing I would have you do is one yourself. What do you believe in? What is your guiding? What you guided by? What morals? What values? What is your core values? Get all that together, and everything else will fall in line. Whatever you believe in, uh, create you some goals and some core values around that.
Yeah, okay. I definitely agree. I feel like they should, whatever you believe, and then on that, what do you like? Find out what you like and go on that, and actually just try to think about what motivates you to get up every day or to
Yeah.
keep doing what you got to do, you know.
I agree.
Let's do this. Okay, so I want to know.
No, I said I agree.
Oh, okay. So a lot of women think about sometimes it's the deciding factor when it comes to things. The man has the decision. He's the deciding factor. He's the one who enroll. So when it comes to a man, what makes you say, I want to be in a relationship?
What is what? How are we compatible? Are we working towards a goal together? Do we have a vision that you know what I'm saying we can both be involved in? We got to understand that when we come in a relationship, we are still single people. We still have single views, but we're bringing it together to go in one common cause.
I agree because on that note, a lot of times women, or as men say, will think that dating that man who come into her life needs to start paying her bills, or she just expects a lot from him. And that's such, I feel like even though you're dating each other, I feel like that person should just have your back. Like they don't need to pay your bills. You don't need to expect them to do 100 with you because they're trying to take care of their own bills and their own adult responsibilities. But I do feel like if you're in that person's life, if you sleeping with that person, you need to make sure that's it. Vice versa.
Definitely. I agree with you 100%. I hear a lot about that 50-50 thing. Me personally, I don't believe in a 50-50 thing, especially if we working together. That's 100-100. Because if I'm giving 50%, where's that other 50% going? You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's if I'm all in for you, like you say, we land down together, we could join in as one, and I can't buy you a burger, or I can't look out for you. Say, baby, I'm hungry. I can't get up and cook for you. What am I here for? What am I you? You know what I'm saying? What am I here for? Or what are you here for? If you can't do that,
Definitely, it's definitely about a lot of times, these times and ages. I feel like it's about what you can get out that person. It's not necessarily about what we can do together, what we can be together, or it's about what we can do for each other, or what I can get from
correct,
that person. Very
correct,
selfishness and one sided.
correct. Yeah, it is. You
Each
got to know the person. You got to know your person you're dealing with. Actually, you got to know yourself. Because when what happens is when you get expectations, you really set yourself up for failure. Because if that person doesn't meet those expectations, now we got a whole situation.
I agree. I feel like expectations, not only that, but boundaries need to be known and set and spoken.
Correct. I agree. I agree.
So, with that being said, I have seen lots. Like, I saw this one post. The dude said women always talking about they want 50-50 or they want 100 from a man. What about a man wanting 100 from a woman? What you think on that?
Again, we going back to what we said. Understanding those boundaries and understand those expectations. If you have those, we want to have those thoughts that the person that we're with has our best thoughts in mind. But at the end of the day, all people don't think the same. One person just want this. Like I just want you to pay for my haircut every 2 weeks, baby. That's all I want you to do. Or I just want you to pay my bill every month. That's all I want you to do. So those things got to be clear. You got to be transparent with a person. If you're not transparent, ain't no 100, ain't no 50. You giving literally 10%.
I get you. I feel you. So we're gonna go into this. Okay, so a lot of men. It's about masculine energy, feminine energy, and soft girl era. What they say. Okay, so a lot of men have called me very masculine. And I've never understood it, because I feel like they're just projecting as if I'm too independent. They don't want an independent woman, or they feel like I'm very controlling, right? So, on that subject, I want to know, what do you feel about masculine energy and feminine? Because a lot of men say that they can't make a woman be in her soft girl energy. But I feel like we're not trying to say that we're not feminine. We're just trying to say that if you want us to be feminine 100% around you, then you need to, make sure we're secure enough that we can allow us to take our guard down to give you
Correct.
that lead. So
You said it right there. A man has to be, a man. You know what I'm saying? He has to be a male man. You know what I'm saying? He has to be a male man. He has to not to the point where he's controlling and overpowering the woman, but just being stern and stable for her to be able to be completely her. And right nowadays, you have to give that time to a woman because at the end of the day, men didn't hurt women so much. You don't know what this woman had been through before you or when she was growing up. So you got to be conscious of those things. And even the words sometimes you say to women because words trigger people too. So it's just really when a woman is exerting that masculine energy, you got two ways you could take that. You could go negative or positive. You know what I'm saying? Depending on the man and how comfort he is and who he is and what he want, he should be able to sit down and say, baby, wait, what's wrong? Damn, what where's that coming from? You know what I'm saying? Communication rules the nation. And communication, being transparent and communicating is the best thing for everything.
I'm glad you said that actually about communication and stuff, because a lot of men have been saying that they would rather have a woman who's always and already in her feminine energy, that he ain't got to do no type of work, that he just want her to already have it done. That goes with also saying that they don't want a woman who is damaged. Too much been done to.
Everybody damaged, everybody fucked up. Excuse my language. Everybody's got their fuck ups. So it's like you got to really find the person, however fucked up they is, you could deal with their fuck ups and they could deal with your fuck ups. At the end of the day, that's how it is because everybody got something.
And that's right. Everybody got something. Everybody got baggage. It's about them working on their own shit. And if you gonna come along and help them work on it, but they gotta work on it themselves and
True.
motivate each other to get through that shit. That's it. That's it. Now, if you don't want to do that, then you're not. You don't need to be here.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And a lot of people rush situations that don't even. Some people be in relationships they don't even need to be in, but it's the comfort level. Like I'm willing to just go through this shit, but knowing personally, like, damn, I shouldn't even be in this motherfucker. But let's just see what happens. And then now you flabbergasted because it didn't work out when you already knew personally the person wasn't gonna go nowhere.
It's the comfort level, like you said, and the settling that people need to stop doing, and then blame other folks for being miserable. You put yourself in that situation, get yourself out, and learn.
Cool. Hey, I agree with you 1,000%, Queen.
So this the last question. Okay,
Okay.
so I saw this movie, right? And the woman, she just found out she had breast cancer.
Mm.
Her husband felt some type of way, not about, oh, I need to take care of her, she's about to be sick. Not even seeing the signs because she didn't see it either. But he was more mad about the physical and the appearance. He started asking questions like, you're gonna lose your breast, or your hair gonna fall out. Basically saying he might not be attracted to her anymore once that happens. And she started questioning him because it became like an issue, like it made her become emotional. Because why are you thinking more about the physical and my appearance than who I am and what I'm finna go through? You should be by my side. So when it comes to that, I'm asking, when it comes to men is the imperfections and flaws in women and appearance more important than knowing her.
You know, the parents, you know what I'm saying? For some men, parents is everything. You know what I'm saying? Some men have to have a model chick, all put together, but then have a fucked up attitude. You know what I'm saying? And then some men, thrive off of being with a imperfect woman looking. You know what I'm saying? Just because he feel that he can be that dominant over her because he may feel that she can't get nobody else better than me. You know what I'm saying? But me personally, I'm more so on the inside. I want it, like I say, baby, you going through something. Damn. I'm not worried about, you losing your titties. I'm like, damn, you losing your titties? Damn, that's gonna fuck you up. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I know we can work it out, but damn, how you gonna feel, baby? Shit.
Right. How is she gonna feel about herself internally? Like she's gonna be feeling very down. She's gonna be feeling self-esteem drop and everything. She want her man to lift her up, tell her she the
Yeah,
shit, tell her we gonna get through it. It's gonna be
baby,
all
we
right.
can't do
And
nothing but get through it. That's why I'm here with you. That's why we here together. We came
that's
through
it.
this.
Everybody got their reasons why they with somebody. Nah, like you said, some men will get with a woman probably decent looking. It will easy to get with her. It's about what he can get from her. And he would think about, well, not too many men out there may want her. But I don't think people should think like that. That goes for women too. I don't think people should think like that because there's always somebody out there.
It's
And it's
always
about the person character more than appearance. But that is sometimes that's the first thing. Sometimes that's the first thing people look at is appearance. But after you get over that, it's about that person character.
correct. I agree with you 100%
So
because
I
the character
definitely
can speak
agree because a
volumes.
lot of women. hmm Yeah, because a lot of folks be like, when someone cheats on you, the first thing they're gonna be like, "You had sex with him? Oh, it was she ugly anyway." It ain't even about her appearance.
True.
It's about what you ain't doing that he getting from her, or it's about what he ain't doing that he can get that she can get from him. So it all goes about you need to communicate with your partner.
Yes.
What you're not getting from your partner, you need to let them know. And if they don't want to do it, then they need to go.
Correct. On the real, and that's like you said, it's all about the communication. Everything could be worked out if you're willing to work it out.
If both are willing to work it out, it takes
If
two.
if was
So
a fifth, we'd all be drunk.
right, and I'll be in the middle, hyping you up. All
You
right,
feel me?
Roosevelt. I really appreciate you coming on the show, spitting wisdom and making me laugh and spitting the realism. So I want you to again tell them how they can find you, and we're gonna have a good night.
Yes, yes. Again, Queen, I appreciate you letting me on your platform. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Again, I'm at Mixed Culture, Roosevelt and Kimmy on Facebook. Mixed Culture, Roosevelt and Kimmy. On YouTube, it's mixed_culture 2023. And I'm also on Amazon Podcasts. You can catch me on Apple Podcasts. You can catch me on Spotify. All the platforms. Check me out.
All right, y'all. Hope everybody enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned, subscribe, like, and comment on all platforms: Spotify, YouTube, Facebook. Hit me up, y'all.